Hello and welcome back to Horizon Forbidden West. So, if you've got a keen eye, you may have noticed something different this time.
Looks like the machine's inspectors have almost wiped each other out. What was that?
So we're back
Aloy,
here.
Gerard just activated the self-destruct failsafe on the printing matrix. He's taking control of a number of systems.
Including the lift?
I'm afraid so. He's restricted its access to the top. You'll have to climb from there. I have to go. I almost have him.
I can't reach that from here.
So yeah, you'll notice that we're looking a little bit different. And basically, what will probably just be the next episode for you has been a week worth of grinding for me. So yes, we are now max level. We have a ton of new weapons, new skills, and basically, and I'll come clean, I've kind of ruined the integrity of the challenge a little bit. We asked
Errant? Is everyone alright down there?
Mostly. We're cleaning up the last few specters.
What about the Zeniths?
Dead, I think. Zoe told me you got Eric. Good work.
Yeah. Thanks. I guess only Tilda and Gerard are left then.
So we've got, basically, we've got, where are we now? Skills. So, I've essentially, after the last time, I did another 2-3 hours or so trying to beat the boss. It is nigh on impossible to get past the final like third of the health bar. They just start hitting you with tons of just like every ability one-shots you, and you're just running low on all resources at that point. So no matter what, I would have to come back with more stuff essentially. Probably like a resource pouch upgrade and some weapon upgrades to be able to just knock that extra bit of health off them. So the next thing I did is I went to the arena. So I went to the arena, which is actually, where is it? Just up here. As you can see, there's this arena thing here. It's complete. I did the amateur one up to the Slitherfang, and then it's like, oh, they've just put a Slitherfang in there. But there's no cover in the arena this time. You're just out in the open against a Slitherfang. And not only that, it chooses what equipment you go into the arena with on certain, on like boss levels. And it costs you money to go in. So I ended up basically bashing my head on that for a while. Getting fed up because it was stripping me of all my cash. I had to keep... The funny thing is it's next to a save spot, so you can just load it up and try again. It just literally, all that making it cost money does is annoy you and cost you as a player time from loading it up and walking back in, instead of just immediately retrying it because it costs money. It's the most ridiculous thing. I don't know why they've done that. It's like the save mechanic undermines the arena money. The arena charging you to go in mechanic. Like the two mechanics just completely undermine each other. Anyway, I got fed up. Looked up the trophies online, see if there's anything for even doing it on very hard. There isn't. Dropped it to story mode. Went and just beat the arena. Went and did a ton of grinding on enemies. By the way, if you're wondering what it takes to get the some of the better weapons in the game leveled up, it's something like, even on story mode, it's like 5 or 6 hours of grinding. It is not fun. It's kind of put I'll be honest, I'm very much looking forward to beating the crap out of the boss at this point, but I will say it's kind of put a bad taste in my mouth at the end of the game here, that I've had to go through all of this. Even though, I mean, what level is the quest? 35. I was trying to do it at 33 on very hard. Yet, it was constantly one-shotting me. And yeah, it doesn't seem like, in particular, the arena in which this is in. Because I've beaten every single... I think the only thing I haven't beaten legitimately in the game is like a Stormbird on very hard. But literally, every single part up to this point on very hard, perfectly reasonable, well balanced, really fun doing it on hard, because it makes you think a bit more about your approach and clipping off different weapon parts, matching your elements to them. You get to the end, and I've noticed against bosses, like bosses when you're on the missions in the story are quite well designed because they're in arenas and things, and they'll typically be cover and different obstacles and things you can drop on them. But right at the end there, it just kind of, like this one in particular, there's no arena, there's nothing special to it, you just get stomped. Absolutely stomped. Anyway, all of that aside, I'm here. I'll go through the skills we've got. We've basically fully done up the melee tree now. So we've got these, well, nearly fully done it up. We've got these extra combo moves now, so we can put pauses in our combos. We can do this flurry of attacks. We can do an energy surge. So we've got a bunch of different little combos, half moon slash and things. I've not done much on the trapper, but we've got the rope ability, just as something to have on the rope, I guess. The main thing I've done is the ranged one here. So this one we have completely maxed out. So ultra shots with the bolt blaster and knockdown shots with the hunter bow. Can do all of these now, and I think I'll be using that knockdown shot quite a lot here, we'll see, but not much more on the, I think I've not done anything on this skill tree at all, because it's all just, like, get more valor when you get punched in the face, and it's like, well, the enemy one-shots me in this level, so I'd rather just not get punched in the face. And other than that, not much. Not much in the infiltrator at all. I don't think I did anything. I've done some in the what's it, the Beastmaster one here, mostly just to get these abilities with the spike launcher, and a few override subroutines that just basically to just try this out, really. The really big ticket items I've got for this final boss have been the power shots over here though. This is what I'm hoping is going to carry me through, which I will probably try. In fact, I'll equip it now. Well, I'll equip it when we get into the fight, maybe. Keep the shield up first, just in case, but we've got a choice between this and the shield. This, what it does is it gives you 5 shots with increased ranged damage by 200%, concentration return per hit is 25%, instantly refills up the ammo and doesn't use ammo when you're using it. It's absolutely nuts. So we can pop that and suddenly we'll just shred through health. The other things that we want that might be worth noting, so weapons. We've still got the spike thrower. I think I got maybe an upgrade or 2 on. The blast sling, I believe, got an upgrade. And the rope caster is still just crap. Most of these, there's no real, yeah, most of them, it's like, not many upgrades on the purples, a few here and there, but nothing massive. The major big ticket items here, from the arena, from completing that, we've got the Death Seeker's Shadow here, which is basically a really nasty tear and shock hunter bow. So it does a decent bit of damage with the impact arrows there, decent bit. It's a hunter bow, so it fires quite quickly. But that tear that it has on those regular arrows is insane. Like compared to, for example, our sharp shot bow here, which does over 200 tear damage, which is really good on its standard arrows. That's kind of nuts. This does that on the regular arrows, right? This thing is for tear damage. It does all the tear damage. It also does bonus damage versus shocked, which I've put on a coil as well as the perks there. The coils, by the way, we've got 12% shock, 12% shock, and then we've got shocked enemy damage, 12%. So our shock is boosted by 24%. Then we deal an additional 12% damage when we're hitting them if they've been hit with shock. And then we've just got tear and component tear to just rip parts off of enemies. The forge fall here, this is quite interesting. So concentration damage plus 10%, stealth damage plus 25. Yeah, we're not going to be in stealth here, but we have smoke bombs. That's potential, we could use that. Right, we could throw a smoke bomb, activate our power shots, and then smack them with this so hard they fly to the sun, basically. And we're talking, at this point it'll be in the multiple thousands of damage. I think just a regular braced shot does something in the range of 700 to 800 now. With stealth, with power shots, it will be really high up there. We've got additional draw speed, so it fires a bit faster. It's also got a perk for plus 65% draw speed. This fires really fast now. It's a sharp shot bow. It feels like a hunter bow almost. We do damage on the high ground. It's not going to be that useful here, but I just put it on while we're going around. I've not really got much that's better. And we've got some impact damage. So, really high damage. You'll notice we've got two types of plasma ammo. Now this is something that you find later on. We've been getting these, what would you call them? They'll be in the resources. It's like volatile sludge or something, I think it's called. Volatile sludge, where are you? Yeah, that's it. There, volatile sludge. Toxic goo scraped from a machine's carcass, and you get it from dangerous apex machines, basically. Right? What that's done, well, what this does is these super plasma shots, as you can see, deal way more plasma elemental damage, right? Hit something with that, they're just going to max out their plasma status immediately. But if I use that volatile sludge, we only carry so much of that. You've got a very limited space in your resource pouch, you can only carry 15. I think it uses 2 every time I make some ammo for this. So we have a limited amount of that, but if we really want to deal plasma, and you'll notice, I'm doing a lot of plasma damage here. Because the enemies, as we know, they do not like plasma. We also have our acid damage here, which has got bonus acid and overdraw damage. So we're really going to hammer it to them with that. And lastly, the final weapon. This is very interesting, the blast forge. So as you can see, it's... oh, wrong button. As you can see, it is big bolt blaster. Its magazine size isn't as large as the previous one, but it has draw speed, reload speeds. It's got it's got some crit bonuses, overdraw damage, but the big ones: instant shock chance, 4%. This fires fast, fires a lot of bullets, well, bolts. Each one now carries a 4% chance to just instantaneously shock our opponent. And then I put on a bunch of mods, where there's now a 2% chance to instantly explode them, 3% chance to instantly freeze them, 4% chance to immediately immolate them, 4% chance to immediately coat them in acid, and 3% chance to immediately slow them where they stand. Why? It's funny. This is just a chaos generator at this point. And it can fire regular upgraded rounds, piercing rounds, which we won't be really needing. Well, maybe. I think the piercing rounds, they'll hit the current target and anything behind them, but I believe they also ignore armor, so they might be useful. But the big ones here are probably going to be the explosive rounds. Get them stunned, load those in, hit them with those. We can make someone's day very bad with this. Lastly, of course, different outfit. We have all the bonuses in the world now. Legitimately, just, yeah, and even the weaves, they come with this. They come pre-equipped. You unlock them as you upgrade it. I could change them out for just like boosting all stats, perhaps. Like, let me see. All defense, for example, would be tremendous here, but no, the ones that are in +2 weapon stamina is insane, and +2 Valor Surge Master, really good, solid skills. So that's what we're going in with.
Aloy, you there? Listen, I got into the network, but only for a minute before I was shut out. I found a bunch of flight plans and trajectories, as if the Zeniths were planning to leave Earth.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know, but there's more. The files I found have a lot of references to something called Nemesis. Whatever it is, the Zeniths are afraid of it.
Alva? Alva! What's going on here? Maybe Beta can help us figure it out. If she's okay.
Right. Let's see where we're going here then. Straight to the top, fight the big boss. Even though, again, I've kind of done the equivalent of entering this with a bunch of contraband weapons as far as beating on very hard mode goes, I still want to beat the final boss. At least I can say I've beaten everything. Well, all the
Almost
enemies
there.
in the main quest have been beaten on very hard at least. Right, should nearly be there, so there's a bit more climbing. But I'll be very interested to see what this setup does against the boss. I'll be very interested, because I'm
coming, Beta.
expecting that I might have overdone it. I am practically maxed out. And there is literally here, in fact, let me just see what weapon, what potions do I got? Large health potion 1. Cleanse potion 3. Ugh. We don't want that, do we? I'm gonna chug them all. You don't want them. Grab these. And let me find where are we? Lovely. Right.
This is it. End of the line.
Maybe we will start out with this equipped. We'll try it. Power shots equipped. We can watch a cutscene again, and then we'll get into it. So I think the strategy here is just going to be to, I mean, this time we actually have some acid to spare.
Are you okay? Look, I
I've
know
been
you've
very
been through a
careful
lot,
on the way
but you
over
have to help me access the Zenith network.
to make sure
I need to see their files.
that I've not
Anything
been
referring to the word
using too
Nemesis.
much acid. I've been mostly using the plasma shots.
Okay,
They don't even use much plasma when you fire
over
them.
there.
Much what they call it, glow blast. So we've been.
The systems are down all over
So
the
we should
base.
have a ton of
I
acid
should
bombs
be able to
if we
take
need
advantage
them.
of... Yes, Nemesis. Here.
And when we do get them,
There's something in deep
when
space.
we do start fighting, we should be able to,
It's
for the most
following
part,
the
just
Zeniths to Earth.
completely keep them pinned down with acid, and then keep hitting them with plasma.
Look. Escape vectors. Oliver
Might
tried to
have
warn me
shakes
about
and
this.
the stuff that I've been playing on stupid easy mode
The
for
Zeniths
past
aren't
couple
planning
of
to
days.
stay here.
And
It's a machine of some kind. Or
I
swarm
might
of
have to
them.
shake
The
off some
energy readings
drugs.
are...
Get used to dodging and
astronomical.
weaving and bobbing again. Dodge, bob, weave.
Aloy, I don't think a natural disaster destroyed the Zenith colony on Sirius. This thing did. Earth isn't a new home for them. It's a way station. They're on the run.
There she is.
I see you've been busy.
And you've been lying. Nemesis, what is it?
It is us. The minds of Far Zenith. Or failed copies of them, anyway. Back on Sirius, some of my peers weren't satisfied with physical immortality. They wanted digital transcendence. A way to upload their minds into any form, organic or mechanical. Nemesis was a failed experiment to that effect. Abandoned, but never erased. An immense database of our memories, emotions, and prejudices left to fester.
And it destroyed your colony?
We didn't realize it had gained sentience until it broke containment. It had everything it needed from our memories. Security protocols, system specs, override codes. It hacked everything before we knew what hit us. Then it took over our printing facilities, allowing it to gain any machine form it needed to wipe us out.
But why?
Imagine being trapped alone for decades with only the twisted echoes of megalomaniacs for company. It hates us for abandoning it to that prison. And now that it's free, it will do anything to destroy us, including denying us a safe harbor on Earth.
The extinction signal that woke Hades. You didn't send it. Nemesis did.
Finally, you understand. And when that failed, it launched from Sirius to finish the job itself. Which is why we must flee to a random planet circling a random star, somewhere it can never find us.
With Gaia. So you can build yourself a new world.
That's the plan. Even now. Earth is finished, Aloy. Nemesis will scour it of life to deny its creators a viable home.
They say this. It's like it's following
But
them, so it's
Elizabeth's
clearly
dream
tracking it.
won't die. You'll come with me to the stars.
Like, we're clearly
And
being
with Gaia,
tracked.
we'll create a new world. Together. Where that monstrosity could never find us.
What? No.
I loved Elizabeth. More than you could ever know. And I let her stay behind to die with the rest of humanity. A mistake I have regretted for 1,000 years. Now she stands before me again. Not some inferior copy, but her best possible self. So I'm not asking. You're coming with me. It may seem harsh now, but you'll forgive me in a few centuries.
You can't force me, Tilda. Your shield is gone.
I have something
I
better.
have I have my
Spectre
own
Prime,
shield. Mind you,
to
I've
me.
swapped out my power shots. I have my bigger, shinier armor and bigger, angrier gun.
Submit, Aloy. You can't win.
I've heard that before.
This Spectre was designed to survive against more than that.
I better scan that thing first. Oh, that helps.
Strike now!
And on the spot there as well. Good, good. Not bad. Bit of damage. But I'll be honest, not much. Let's see, I remembered how to dodge.
Say the word, and I'll stay my hand!
Let's try some
That
big,
thing's fast.
sharp shots.
I can target its gold
raise
plating.
shots. Ow. Nearly got that gold plate then, but not quite.
Sticks and stones against the lightning.
Okay, let's try this.
Ha! Those gold plates are vulnerable.
I've seen your life, Aloy. It should not be lost.
That was probably wasted it.
You're not taking me, Tilda!
Refill our medical supplies there.
Blast off!
It's using the gold plates to power its attacks.
Right, here's what I'm thinking. Might be time. No, I wanted to. There we go. Good enough. Let's do this. Or not. Or not. Or maybe we will. So there's the big shot.
Activate!
I'll shut you down.
A little bit early on the dodge. You need to break some distance. Get a moment.
Ask yourself why you're holding back.
Holding back
quick.
to regenerate our stamina. That's what we're doing. So remember, now that we've got these power shots, we want to stay our hand a little bit while we are,
It's reforming.
yeah, while we've got the power shots enabled, because we deal
Power!
massive amounts of damage right now. And now, if we hit the, there we go. think we're getting most of the components off of the
I knew you didn't truly want to hurt me.
Explosions from this.
This won't work, Tilda!
Oh!
You think you can stay here and survive?
Armor's off!
Oh, look at that.
Well, that did something. Okay, better.
Oh, and there's the instant acid.
It's over. Why couldn't you just let me choose?
I mean, personally, I'd
She
double
tried
check.
to take you. And she told you about Nemesis.
So you've known all along.
From Hades, yes. Along with data on how to circumvent the Zenith shields. Everything I did to create the rebel army was based on that knowledge. To reach this place, this moment.
And you couldn't just tell me?
Come now, Aloy. You're the last person to act sensibly in the face of impossible odds. When I learned of Nemesis from Hades, I saw the pieces on the board and how to play them. And in that same moment, I knew it was a game you would never play. That you would interfere and attempt to save the Tenakth. I was correct, to a point. You ruined my plans, but brought your own to fruition. The end result is the same. We're here. And now it's time for me to leave this doomed planet behind. To seize the Odyssey and the Apollo database, and begin a new chapter in my pursuit of knowledge, one with infinite possibilities. You can join me if you so desire. You've more than earned your place. Unlike Tilda, I'm extending a polite invitation.
You're going to just take off? And abandon everything? Stay. Help me fight that thing.
Perhaps Tilda didn't adequately define the threat. Nemesis can't be stopped. It destroyed a highly advanced Zenith colony in a matter of hours. What hope does this primitive tribal Earth have? If you brought Gaia, you wouldn't be abandoning life, you'd be saving a seed for a new world. Just as Elizabeth did. It's the choice she made. The sacrifice of all that is for the hope of what might be. If she were here in your place, she would board that shuttle, Aloy.
Found her.
Is she hurt?
Still on her feet. Thank the 10.
Goodbye, Silence.
We're not letting him just like nip off with Apollo, the big database of all human knowledge, right? We're gonna get a thumb drive copy, right?
She looks
We're
okay.
not just gonna let him
She looks
run
victorious.
off with that. You know, copy paste, Aloy, before he
As
goes,
always.
copy paste.
Aloy. You did it.
That's the point, there's two of us now.
Hey, where's he going?
As far away as anyone can go.
Oh. Are you sure?
Hey, he's a good guy now. maybe.
You're staying.
For a time. You people are going to need all the help you can get.
Does anyone else need a drink?
Not if it's that ale of yours.
I'd be fine with a nap.
Excellent idea.
I hope it's really over this time.
There's another battle ahead, Elizabeth. Very different than the one you fought. It's not about the distant hope of creating a new world. It's
We're
about
missing
preserving the one we
Hades and
have.
Hephaestus, aren't we, from Gaia?
My friends have a new mission.
So, no
To spread the
redos.
word and ask for help. They've taken it in its stride. I think it's because they've always known what I've only just started to understand. That the people of this world have the strength to fight any battle. The ingenuity to solve any problem.
Hey. Nice end cutscene. Kind of wrapping
Courage.
everything up, isn't it?
To overcome any obstacle. And the resilience to rise after any setback. As for me, I can't say I'm not afraid. What lies ahead will be harder than anything we've faced before. But I know I can put the fear aside. Because for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm not alone.
So, it's definitely been a good one. I'll give it that much. I'd say that the difficulty were quite balanced right up until near the end. That I think the bosses in the game are they're very dependent on the area in which you fight them. And I think one of the issues with the bosses in the game is they are basically, up until then, you're taught match your, scan the enemy, look for the weakness, match your arrow types and whatever to the weakness, and yada yada yada. But when it comes to the bosses, especially in the late game, it seems to be like they're practically immune to any and all ailments, and you kind of just need to, and the end game weapons kind of reflect this as well a bit. A lot of the end game weapons, I think only the hunter bow really has any kind of elemental effect to it. I think there's a different hunter bow you can get from what I've seen that has more elemental damage and stuff, but most of the end game weapons are just raw damage with dealers, just like explosive impact damage, raw quantities. So it kind of does seem to switch toward the end of the game, and it messes with the build and that. speaking of builds, the different skill trees, I'll be honest, I think I like the addition of them in the game. They're definitely better than what were prior. It's a nice improvement, but some of them definitely need work. The melee one, I think, needs the combos you get toward the end. You should be getting them more toward the beginning, and maybe upgrading them as you go. I think not having options in melee isn't really that good. You should start getting the options early on, and then be more about improvement later. And it's not that viable, given that it's practically useless against any large machine. You know, you think there'd be something for melee against them, but it's a waste really, especially as you get toward the end game. It's more the beginning game thing, and it's practically useless on hard or higher. I wonder how far we're going to go around the world here. I wonder if it's going to go all the way around, because we're in yeah, we're coming through the oh, what's it, the claim we're leaving now? Anyway, yeah, that's where we first fought the rebels. So, and I will point out that there's other skills. The infiltrator is really good for the brace shot and a few other things, you know, stealth damage and tear damage and such. Really good as a first strike skill tree. But the other things surrounding it, like, better silent strikes that still don't one-shot most. Like, you wouldn't expect them to one-shot most machines, but you think that they'd focus on other things rather than just boosting them. You could have, I mean, like, some of the skills in that are useless, like heal on silent strike, that's practically useless. I feel like it should focus more on hit and runs, so it should be like enemies lose track of you and become unaware faster, that sort of thing. Focus on like first strike, hit and run mechanics, rather than it just being stealth. But still not bad. The ranged one is just because ranged combat is so prevalent in the game, is absolutely god tier. Speaking of which, best ability, braced shot, hands down, nothing else really comes anywhere close. The unload is probably the second best on the bolt thrower. And I have used all of the abilities now in the arena and things in my own time, so I've had a decent chance of using them. But yeah, the bolt thrower's unload is just unbelievably good. If you can stagger them with something, knock them down, load that up, it is way better than a silent strike or crit strike or anything. Which that's another thing, it's a crit strike, but late game that is useless. There's definitely a problem with scaling on different weapons and damage types and elemental effects and things. There's definitely some weird stuff going with the scaling into the late game. On that note, I think the resilience tree needs a lot of work. It seems to be a lot of emphasis on low health. Ooh, you know, bonus damage, bonus this, bonus that on low health. It should be more about sustain, you know, it should be you heal more efficiently, you can carry more stuff in your pouch, you can maybe even like getting to the point where, I mean, you do get a shield ability on it, but you know, you start wondering, it should be more about just your base resilience, not just bolstering you when you're on low health, you know, it should be potions can be crafted more efficiently and you can carry more alcohol and that sort of stuff. It's weird, the medical skill tree. It seems a bit at odds with itself, like half of the tree is practically useless. Also, the other few things I've noticed, and then just so on skill trees, I think that's most of it. The Beastmaster is the one that I would really like to try, and it sounds really fun, but it's so useless in most scenarios. It's like, I'm doing this mission. I'm in an enemy bit, you know, I'm in an underground base. There's just humans or something. Right, well that's useless, and there's no monsters around. And you have to do all the cauldrons to make it work. It seems like it's got the most legwork involved, and it's the least consistent, which, God knows, practically, it's just, well, it's completely impractical. But really fun if you get it working, but it's very situational, and I think that's what prevents it from being good. If you could just call in, I think it gave you an ability to call in a certain type of creature or something, like you can your mount. And I know it's like, but what about when you're indoors, and what about when you're this, and what about, well, I guess you'd have to think of something. But it's definitely something that would be nice to work. It would be nice to have that working. I mean, you could have it work indoors if it were like little dogs or something, little robot dogs or something like that you had a pack of, and you upgraded it so you had more of them and they were better, so you went along adding that. But it needs to be viable in all situations. As cool as it is and as well as it goes into the game's mechanics. But the problem is, if you got to like level 30 odd and you were a Beastmaster, literally the last boss you wouldn't be able to beat because all your skills are invested in the wrong tree, which is utterly useless in that end game scenario. It's just, it gets a lot of things right though. I'm on about the melee. The previous game was just button mashing. This has got combo moves and you can do like some backflips off the enemies while shooting with arrows. It's awesome. They've really improved the melee. The ranged combat is, as ever, just anyone wanting to put a bow and arrow into a game, this is how you do it. Please take notes. The general gameplay loop I've found is very solid. It's like a miniature version of Monster Hunter. I will say it gets far too grinded toward the end. When I was doing up those legendary weapons, it was a pain, even on the default difficulty, because it's a chance that you get the part and you have to hit the right components and things. On story mode it just gives you the components, whether or not you can rip them off or not. You almost feel like you're cheating it, but to be fair, with how frustrating I could imagine that fighting all those bosses would be, I'm glad they've put that in the game. That has saved me a lot of time. I would have been very frustrated otherwise. And I will say, on subject of difficulty, up until that point very hard was excellent. I tried the last one on very hard, I tried this one on very hard, completed the last one, did this one almost completed. I mean, I guess I can count it as I beat it on very hard, because I went back, leveled up a load, came back in, put it on very hard, continued from where I left off. But I don't know, it's kind of like, it's like, yeah, you beat it, but, you know, contraband weapons, essentially. Does it count? Don't know. But, the main thing that helped me in the end there was just the amount of tankiness I'd gained. Practically like with an extra third of my health bar added on. Some levelling and so on. But, yeah, generally speaking, I think that it's put a sour taste in my mouth at the end, the grind that I had to go through to get there, but overall the game has been fantastic. Ignoring that, absolutely brilliant. The story has a few interesting twists and turns. I would like to see the supporting characters doing more in the next one. It feels to all be a lot of Aloy, and you don't see much of companions in that. It'd be nice to be able to like choose one to accompany on missions or something. You know, maybe in the next one, if you're building an army and you're building up to do this thing, maybe you could send them off to do other tasks as you're out. You know, they maybe go and get resource and build things up with tribes or something as you're getting ready for this end scenario. Oh, there's a Stormbird. That's one out fighting to get the weapons. But maybe you could have some accompany you on missions, you know, and you could have like a separate skill tree for companions and level them up and things. I feel like they could do more with them, not just from a gameplay standpoint, but in the story as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing more Silence. Honestly, whoever's acting him, excellent job. They did not get enough screen time this time, but again, I don't think many of the characters did. So overall, good story. Loving this end cutscene, by the way. This is how you get to watch the credits. And that's another thing, gorgeous game. You cannot fault the graphics, you can't. You cannot fault any of the graphics, it looks utterly gorgeous. Just pause the game at any point, take a screenshot, that could be a new desktop wallpaper. It really is. Like, look at that, that could be a desktop wallpaper, that. Barrel roll, that could be one. You know, it's brilliant looking. But yeah, they've added a lot of new little bits of mechanics, nothing major I think, but lots of little things have been added, you know, little quality of life things, new moves, I mentioned with the nail and combat and that. Lots of little things. Certain mechanics undermine each other, like for example, paying to do the arena, yet it's next to a manual save spot. Why? It just annoys people. So, honestly, I'd still be tempted to give this like a 10 out of 10. I think if you give it less than a 9, you're lying to yourself. But you're just trying to have a shot at the game, I guess. You know, a cheap shot, but absolutely excellent. I would like to see more with the mounted combat. I know you can do mounted combat in the game, but you can't on the back of the bird. And now that it's canon that Aloy can control birds, like the next game, I want to be able to like be on the back of here firing your bow off at things. Like, would not be fussed if in the next game you start off as powerful as this and you continue to get increasingly more powerful, seeing as the threat that you're facing is utterly massive. I think it would still scale, but we'll see. Speaking of which, do look forward to the next one I do. Again, my only issue with it all would be as well as the grind, I would mention the quest design can be a bit dodgy in parts. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of fetch quests, so many damn fetch quests. And a lot of the quests, when you're making a side quest, you always have to ask yourself, what is the motivation from the player's point of view to do this? You know, like a brilliant example is one that I got toward the end there, where it was go and triangulate this radio signal. Right? Which is wanting this radio signal found that last in the desert. What are we doing? And you think, well, so I go there, I find her, right, that's already one go out and find some place, that's already one thing. Then she goes and tells you to go to 3 different locations, so you're just traipsing around the place looking for these things, right? You activate them all. So that's like 3 mini quests as part of the side quest. And what do they all do? They give you a radio message that's just like a tiny tidbit of story, and then probably some meager reward. Why? Like, they need to really look at trimming some of the fat, right? Oh, we can look here, names of them, yeah. Oh, we got Silence, Lance Reddit. Oh, there we go. Let's hope they get some more. Let's hope they get some more time next time. We'll skip through this. There we go. We are fast approaching time though, so I'm not going to be holding much more here. You've defeated Far Zenith, you're now free to explore and complete any unfinished tests. But yeah, I would say a general so we're discovering a load of areas randomly. Oh, it's like rediscovering things for some reason. Like the base. Oh, we hadn't discovered that. Right. Another thing that I would just mention, because there's been a bit of drama around this and Elden Ring and about interface design and like hand holding, and I will say it's almost like looking at two sides of a coin. Is that I'm gonna have to be quick because there's only like 5 minutes left before the PlayStation just cuts me off anyway. But it's like looking at two sides of a coin in terms of open world design, and on the one hand you have Horizon where it's just littered the map with stuff. There's things everywhere. It's trying to pull you in all directions constantly. Like, "Ooh, come here, do this, ooh, do that, almost like it's nagging you. And it's very grindy, and there's loads and loads of stuff that lasts long after you've beaten the game. And you have to sort of ask yourself, well, what's the point in adding all of this at that point if it's long outstaying its welcome? There's not much to really do with that stuff, and it's like bloat almost. I feel like they need to streamline this and keep it focused. When I've been on Elden Ring, I've only done like the first area and a half at the moment at the time of recording, but I intend to finish it soon enough. That'll be my main focus at this point. But it is far more streamlined. You just go to a place, there's a little bit of stuff to do there, you kill a boss, you move on. There's no, go and get the 10 things and do the challenge, then run over here and do another quest and back, and it is a lot more, and it doesn't handhold you, but it is almost the opposite side of a coin. Like I say, it's with Elden Ring, I feel like it could be a little bit more handholdy, a little bit more helpful. I mean, even trying to set up co-op, you almost have to look up a goddamn guide to figure it out, because all the, it couldn't just be a lobby or something, or you activate that statue and it just put you in. It's like, no, you go through this whole process of looking through your inventory for these arbitrary named weird items, all to do with fingers for some reason. But it is interesting to see them both go, but honestly, they're both excellent games. They do things differently, obviously. I'm glad that they're both out. It's nice to have some 10 out of 10 games both releasing, no microtransactions included. It's nice. But again, that said, I think that Horizon could learn a bit from Elden Ring by maybe trimming some of the fat, not having a million different arenas and different scavenger things and all this stuff. It's almost too much, and it all starts to feel like you're just ticking off a shopping list. Like, why should I go and do this? Why do I need to give me a reason, not just like some upgrade that takes me 3 hours of investment to get. Give me something more immediate. But at the same time, I think Elden Ring could probably take a bit of advice from them as well. It's neither are perfect. They're almost both two extremes in terms of their design. Like Elden Ring could, again, it probably could use a few things different. It could maybe use a little journal. I could imagine coming back to the game after a month of not playing it and trying to remember what quest you are doing. Just a little journal to have those jotted down in wouldn't go amiss. Little things like that. I feel like Elden Ring, the From Software team is still like just discovering things that other games have been doing for ages, and they've been reluctantly falling in line because they want to do things their way, and they think everyone else is, stuck in their ways, so they're trying to change it up. But sometimes it's to the detriment. Like the jump button is a perfect example. They've not had a jump button until now. So, well, we don't need it. Yes, you need that. That's standard. You do need it. Stop arguing. Some things are there for a goddamn reason, and it makes it so much nicer. But some things they're right on. Having a more focused experience that you've got this perfect difficulty built around and stuff like that, it can be quite a good idea. And the boss design is amazing. And it'll be in the Elden Ring series, but I've got a few things on the combat mechanics in that, mostly to do with like attack cancellations and things that I'd rather them have. But Anyway, it is about to cut me off, so thank you very much for watching. It's been a brilliant series. I do love Horizon. Still, easy, I think easy 10 out of 10 for me, this. Absolutely fantastic game. Loved every minute, apart from that right bit at the end, but then I did get my revenge and just obliterate them, which was very satisfying. Worth grinding for the past few days for. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in